Imagine waking up one morning to see breaking news. Microsoft just announced its own Linux distribution. The tech world would explode overnight, shock, excitement, confusion, and curiosity all at once. But let's pause for a second and think, what would that really mean? What if Microsoft actually made Linux? For decades, Microsoft and Linux have stood on opposite sides of the computing world. Microsoft was once the symbol of closed-source dominance, while Linux represented open-source freedom. But times have changed, and the line between them is fading faster than anyone expected. So today, let's explore what a world would look like, where Microsoft builds its own Linux-based operating system. It's not as impossible as it sounds. Remember, Microsoft already uses Linux in many places. Their cloud platform, Azure, runs countless Linux servers. Windows Subsystem for Linux allows developers to run Linux natively inside Windows. Ivan Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, once said, "Microsoft loves Linux." That statement, once unthinkable, has now become reality. So what if they took the next bold step? What if Microsoft launched a desktop OS based entirely on Linux, blending Windows familiarity with open source flexibility? Let's imagine it. First, let's picture the design. Microsoft Linux would likely keep the Windows-like interface as start menu, taskbar, and the same sleek, fluent design visuals. But under the hood, everything would be powered by the Linux kernel. No more NT-based system. This means lightning-fast boot times, better stability, and fewer crashes. Imagine the reliability of Ubuntu mixed with the polish of Windows 11, smooth, modern, and developer-friendly. The next major difference would be performance. A Linux base would allow Microsoft to strip away the unnecessary bloat that slows down traditional Windows. System updates could be faster, more modular, and less intrusive. No more forced reboots after updates. And gaming? Microsoft could integrate DirectX and Proton compatibility layers directly into the system, making it a gamer's paradise. Finally merging Steam Deck-like performance with Xbox integration. Now think about security and privacy. Linux is well known for its security-first design. If Microsoft built their OS on Linux, it could completely change how people view data protection. Imagine an OS that's open source, allowing security researchers to inspect and verify the code, no hidden trackers, no mystery background processes. That kind of transparency would rebuild trust between users and Microsoft. But let's be real, there would be massive challenges too. The biggest would be software compatibility. Thousands of enterprise tools, legacy apps, and drivers depend on the Windows NT architecture. Microsoft would have to create a compatibility layer, something like Wine, but deeply optimized to ensure older Windows apps could run smoothly on the new Linux foundation. Without that, businesses might hesitate to switch. The second challenge, the community. Linux users value openness, freedom, and control. Microsoft historically is known for control and licensing. So the question is, could they truly embrace open source culture? Or would it be another tightly managed ecosystem with limited freedom? If Microsoft released a half-open Linux, the community might reject it instantly. But if they went fully open, imagine the collaboration potential. Developers worldwide could contribute to improving Microsoft Linux, just like they do for Fedora or Debian. Let's also talk about integration and with the rise of Copilot and AI-driven productivity. Microsoft could use Linux to create a smarter, adaptive OS. Picture a desktop that learns from your workflow, preloads your most used tools, manages resources efficiently, and optimizes power usage automatically. Combined with Azure's cloud intelligence, Microsoft Linux could become a true AI-powered operating system, one that works with you, not against you. Now imagine the developer ecosystem. Developers already love Linux for its flexibility, scripting, power, and stability. If Microsoft offered a Linux-based system that ran Visual Studio Code, Docker, and cloud tools natively, it could completely dominate the developer world. Suddenly, you'd have a unified platform for coding, gaming, and productivity, all running on open tech. Even OEMs would jump in. Laptops with Microsoft Linux pre-installed could rival Chromebooks, but with full desktop capability, Surface devices running Microsoft Linux could deliver better performance with lower resource usage, giving longer battery life and faster boot times. Now, let's visualize the impact on the market. If Microsoft embraced Linux fully, it could trigger a wave of transformation across the tech industry. Other closed-source giants might follow. Apple could face new pressure to open its system more, while Google might push Chrome OS to new levels. The competition would shift from who has more control to who offers more freedom and performance. This could be the biggest operating system revolution since the invention of Windows itself. But let's not forget, Microsoft is a business. They would need to find a new model to make money from an open source OS. Perhaps they'd focus on cloud subscriptions, AI features, and app stores, rather than OS licenses. Imagine an open OS that is free to install but tightly integrated with Microsoft S ecosystem one. Office 365 na Azure. That way, users get freedom, and Microsoft still profits through services. Now here's a crazy thought. What if Microsoft open-sourced Windows itself someday? If Microsoft Linux succeeded, that could be the first step toward a fully transparent operating system, one that is no longer locked behind proprietary code. That idea, once unimaginable, is slowly becoming possible as open source continues to dominate the modern tech landscape. As we move deeper into an AI-driven world, the operating system of the future isn't just about code, it's about intelligence, adaptability, and user trust. If Microsoft ever builds its own Linux, it won't just be a technical change. It would be a cultural shift, a moment in tech history where close meets open and rivals become partners. So, what do you think? Would you install Microsoft Linux on your PC? Would you trust a Linux made by Microsoft? Or prefer the pure community distros like Ubuntu, Fedora, or Arch? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed exploring this futuristic scenario, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We've got more deep dives coming your way about the future of technology, AI, and operating systems. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.